Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum, where despite what it may look like over my shoulder, we've actually not been playing football in here for once. Now today, we're in for a very exciting installment, especially for myself, because we're going to be focusing on one of my favourite cars in here, not DBS, but the C63 AMG Black Series. And very specifically, we're going to be focusing on the paintwork of the car. Now it was bought as a used vehicle with some miles and no PPF, so of course it's far from perfect. So it's often been a point of discussion here at the Shmuseum. Do we rectify the paint that's already there in the diamond white, or do we change the colour? So today we're going to be heading over to our friends at Godleman's, who are preparing some spray out cards for us of colours that we have in mind and colours that you've suggested as well, to see how they look against the car and see if that can help us make a decision on what we're going to do. Now on top of that as well, we've often discussed, and you guys have often asked, how do we maintain all of the cars in here? Now, me and Tim have a full spreadsheet of all of the details on the cars, when they were last driven, their tyre pressures, their tyre depths, absolutely everything. And today we're going to be running you through all of that and just how we keep these in tip-top condition. So you now join us in the office, back in front of the laptop, where we've got our document which details everything we could ever need to know about these cars, so we're able to keep on top of everything that they could possibly need. Things like services, we've got column for our services, when the next date is due or when the next mileage is due, so obviously whichever comes first, which is generally the date, because obviously all of these kind of things don't do super huge miles. We've also got MOTs, tax, insurance, warranty, even when they were last driven. So if anything sits for more than around about a month, 6 weeks, we know we can get it out on the road. And looking here, I can actually see that the GT8 and the 675 both need to go for a drive. Now, as much as me and Brad don't need an excuse to go and get lunch, the weather outside really isn't appropriate for taking either of those cars out on Trofeos or Cup 2, so we'll have to leave that until the weather's a bit drier. But as I said, we've got all of that on one tab, and then we've got another one which details all of the monthly maintenance, things like tyre pressures, wheel torques, that we go through, well, once a month, just to make sure that whenever we want to jump in the cars, they're turnkey, ready to go, and on the button. But
before we go onto that page, Tom,
yes,
I'm going to test you, and I was actually going to ask you what's the next cars that need to go out for a run, but you've answered that.
Okay.
But I want to know, when's the next car due a service? What is the next car that's due a service?
So the next car due a service is very standout, which is actually the GT500, which is obviously currently over in Florida. So that's not something that I, as garage manager, will be able to jump in. Tim's going to have to deal with that one, given that he's the one going back and forth to it.
It's across the water, it's across the pond. You can't get there very easily to sort that. So,
no. Although I'm sure I could still make a phone call and get that booked in. But real world, looking at it, the next car, it's probably actually going to be the Lusso, which obviously is a recent addition to the garage, but that's probably the next one that will be due a service, followed by the 675 LT Spider. And in fact, I mean, if you want to have a quick look, you'll see that it's actually very well laid out. So we've got various things in green and red and amber. So these actually change on their own when various things are going to be needed. So at the moment, we've got a couple of services showing as red, but that's because the SLS is currently off having its service, and so is the Ford GT. So I can't update that until I get the paperwork back with the exact date that the service was carried out. But they change on their own. So as soon as something is coming up due, it goes amber, and as soon as it is due, it goes red. So obviously we do try not to let anything go red where possible, although we do have a couple of the cars which are overdue for driving, one of which is the Clio, which I didn't mention that needs to go out for a run, because we have some plans with that which we are going to get to, which is why we're not overly bothered about getting that one out on the road, because if some oil seals go in the engine or if something broke down, it's not going to be the end of the world with what's coming. And also the Ford GT is overdue for a drive, but again, it's currently away for service and has been for a little while. So I imagine the moment that gets back, I know what Tim's daily driving for a little while, and I suspect it's going to be the Ford GT.
I can imagine that too. Right, so should we move on to the sort of monthly maintenance, so the tyre pressures and tyre tread depths? Yeah,
so if we move on to this, obviously every month, just to make sure that, as I said, everything is on the button, ready to go, we make sure that tyre pressures are where they need to be, because again, if things are sitting around for a while, they will drop pressures. The tyre tread depths are always good to be measured on a monthly basis as well, even if the cars haven't necessarily done too many miles, because you know, something like the Senna may only do a couple 100 miles between drives, but that could have been a track drive. So it could have used an awful lot of the tyres there. Things even like the wheel torques, as we mentioned, just to make sure that they're all up to spec when they need to be, just because these cars do get, as I said, pushed hard on track at times. So you want to make sure everything is safe. So Now that we've got the document up, I can see that some of them have been recently done, and there's quite a few of them that do need doing, so I think we should probably go and grab an air compressor and start doing some tyres and checking some wheel torques. Now, before we do go anywhere, Brad.
Yes.
We mentioned that you may have a slight surprise for the guys, and that you may have brought a whole new car into the Shmuseum today.
I might have brought a completely new car, new colour. It's kind of different.
But it's kind of the same.
Kind of the same.
Should we reveal?
Should we do that now?
Should we reveal? So I think we should point out that Tim has clearly had quite the influence on Brad, and as soon as he reveals this, it's going to become very
this
clear.
will make a lot of sense. Let me bring it over here.
I think if any of the guys know Tim, they already know what's coming.
Yeah. Tim has quite a few of these, and I decided one day while chatting to him, and I've been looking at this for a while. I've had my Bath 124. It's a bit of a clue, for over 2 years now, and I've always wanted to get a 118 model of it. So one day, sitting with Tim, I decided that that was what was being purchased. So I've ordered one, it's arrived. Yes, it's red, mine is in silver/grey. The long-term plan, like Tim does with many of his things, is to send it off, have it painted, and if I really want to go the full shebang, try and get my rotiforms 3D printed to replace the standard wheels. Now, we've had a bit of an idea.
Yes.
And we think that while Tim's away, we should get this off of its base and pop it into the display cabinets next to some of his cars. I think we're going to put it next to the SLS because there's a free space. And when he comes back, we'll see how long it takes him to notice. And now he will probably watch this video and then realise, but if he doesn't, for any reason, he won't know until he's back. So
yes, Tim, this is going to be a test of whether you watch our videos.
Exactly. Does Shmee watch the Shmuseum videos?
Will he go straight to that 124 model and pull it out of the cabinets, or
hopefully look after it and not just throw it somewhere? Yes. Because they are delicate, as Tim said, and even buying this, I was a bit like, do I want to be touching it? But we're being gentle. We're looking after it.
So yeah, will he notice, or will he come in, sit straight down at his desk, and not have a clue? That is going to be the key thing.
Yeah. Right. Let's leave this for now. We'll go and sort some of the cars out, and then we'll get this unpackaged and we'll pop it in there in 20-30 minutes time, which for you guys will be not that long. We're now back here in the unit itself, in the cold. It's still lovely and warm in here. I can't wait for the weather to get a bit better. Summer last year was great in here, and then winter came and it was, let's get some gazebos. Although, let's be fair, it's nowhere near as bad as when we first had to get these. But anyway, you join us out here with trusty air compressor, which again, it's not the best in the world. We're working on this. It's just, there's so much other stuff going on right now. It does the job though. It does the job. It's just not priority, but upgrade coming soon. And also our tyre pressure gauge, so we can make sure that we get things very precise. GCC, full auto and DBS completed. We've got everything we need to them. We just need to check the tyre pressures, I think is the final thing. Next up, I need to probably put the tripod away. Sorry, Tim. Is, I believe, the LT and probably the Senna, which we need to get the tread depths for. Yeah, I haven't yet measured the tread depths on either of these two, and as much as I said that was what I was going to do, I'm currently wondering if you know how to use one of these, because I'm not the smallest guy in the world, and these are quite low to the ground. You know, with most cars, even the Ferrari, you've got a significant amount of room to get in with a tread depth gauge and get a measurement. Well, off you go. You think you're funny, don't you? Well, I know what you're trying to do. Yeah, I'm trying to get you to do it. You do one, I'll do the other. By the time I'm down here, I'll do it. But anyway, the easiest way for me to do this is basically going to be to sit on the floor and lay down. I'm going to bed. Oh, you're literally going... I'm going to bed underneath 675. Oh, good night, Tom. So, we come around here. We're going to take the measurement on the inside. Now, I know you would generally go 3 points across the tyre. This is a really weird way to talk to you guys. I know you generally go all 3 points across the tyre, but given the way these are cambered, they're going to wear on the inside first. So we'll just take that measurement, as that's the one we're going to need to know. So that's about 4.5 millimetres. I should very quickly run back to the laptop. You should. Before we forget that one. So rear left, 4.5 millimetres. Yep. We will come back to you in a second when we've finished off the LT. And I'll have this one. Wait, no. We'll come back to you and I'll... Anyway. On to the Senna. Tom, where are you? Hello. You can kind of see through the tinted. Yeah, there we go. Hello, now you see me. So, as much as I was complaining about the Senna and the 675, This is a really funny angle, by the way.
Your face you're pulling is quite funny. It actually transpires that you pop the door open and you have a clear view of the entire tyre. So what I can tell you is that we have 3 mil all across this one.
There you are.
So you
3
can add
mil
that
all across
into the document. Now, for anyone who's used to regular road car tyres, even something like a Pilot Supersport or PS4S, 3 mil may sound incredibly low, and it's probably about the depth level that your garage would recommend replacement. However, being Trofeo Rs and things like Cup 2s, Cup 2Rs, they only have about 3.5 to 4 mil new. So 3 mil is actually still most of the way through its life. Now, they do vary between tyre to tyre. For example, a while back when Tim was looking at the Cup 2Rs on the GT Black Series compared to the GT2 RS, there was about a 2 mil tread difference between them from new. So it can vary, but it's approximately 4 mil new. So at 3 mil, they've still got plenty of life left in them. You're down here very kindly just getting at these ones for me because it's not the easiest in the world.
Yep. Just do.
And you are more flexible. You play a lot of football.
Yeah, apparently. In the barn or?
No, in actual life.
A bit of both. In the real world.
In the real world, that's the one. Not that this isn't.
So I would
real
say
world, but
rear right is around 2 mil.
around 2 mil.
Which, as we said, it's not that bad. 2.5.
No, it sounds incredibly low, and I appreciate the legal limit is 1.6 millimeters,
Yep.
so it's only got about 0.4 mil left to go, but there's probably still another track day left in those.
Probably, and then replace them ready for more.
There's probably a track day
abusing.
left in them, and then maybe it gets transported back, maybe it could drive back. It will be on the borderline.
Yeah, but that's
Depends
another.
how hard Tim pushes it, I guess.
Which, knowing Tim, round the track, probably quite hard.
Flat out.
Yeah.
So, right, Senna's done. On to the next one.
On to the next part of the video, which is jumping back onto the Abarth 124 model that I purchased recently. We're going to get this off of the tray and into the cabinets over there. Let's have a look. Does it just lift up? Oh, it does. Good. So we've got that needs to come out the way. Anything else under here that needs to be moved? Not. Oh, this is so cool. Here we go then. I now have the model of my Abarth 124. So this one is finished in the red. I think it's called Costa Brava red, whereas mine is Portogallo grey, which is the sort of silvery colour. I mean, officially, my colour is actually aluminium metallic from Mazda, being a Mazda underneath, which Tom loves to tell me every time he sees my car that it's actually a Mazda, but there's nothing wrong with that. We've got record monitor exhaust on the back, the interior, left-hand drive, but looks exactly how my interior does, and it looks really, really good. I can see a nice clear gap right here next to the SLS. Like we said, my favourite car of the collection, because there's a few other cars. We're going to go with the SLS, so let's very carefully pop it inside here. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Line it up nicely. Does that look right? Oh, that's cool. That is so cool. Yeah, this is now going to live right there, and we're going to see if Tim, I should probably close that properly. There we go. We'll see how long it takes Tim to notice that there is an imposter in his display cabinet of model cars. So I'm hoping you guys can hear, because Tom's over there. Can you hear me?
What?
Tom, I can't hear Tom. Tom can't.
Guys,
Hello?
what did he just say? I don't have a word. They can hear me.
I can hear. You can hear me.
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I said, can you hear me?
Oh, no.
So Tom's doing that. I hope you can still hear me over that.
That should be enough.
That's enough. Okay, and I'm just going to let some air out of these rears, if I can remember how this contraption works.
It's quite easy.
It is. You press it onto the valve and you press a button, it lets air out. So these, if I'm right, the rears have to be to 29. So this is 29.4. Let a bit of air out. Recheck it. 29.2. And 29.0.
Bang on.
Perfect.
That's what we like.
What do I need to do? The next one?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the
front.
front driver's side and rear passenger side also need a bit let out, and actually so will that one now because I've just overinflated that one.
Cool.
As
Well, I'll do this, and then we've got a few more cars to do.
We do. Bang on. And that's it. We are done. All of the tyre pressures have now been done, and we left the C till last. And Brad has been round with the torque wrench as well, just checking all of the wheel nuts to make sure those are up to spec and they are all good. Now, at the start of this video, we teased you about this car, and its paint color. Now, unfortunately, time has run on a little bit here, and we've had a few other meetings that we had to get done, and it's now the end of the day, and unfortunately we're not going to make it down to Godleman's today to collect our paint samples. But what we are going to do is head over first thing in the morning so that we can go and get them and see exactly what is waiting for us. So for you guys, it's just going to be a couple of minutes. For me and Brad, it's going to be overnight, so we'll see you then. Good morning, guys. It is the next day, and it is time to head over to the guys at Godleman's and go and get our paint samples for the beast that is the C63 Black Series. This is a very exciting moment because, well, this is going to be the moment we decide what colour this is going to go. So without further ado, let's hop on in and get this on the road.
We are on the way over to Godleman's to check out these paint samples, and we have some lovely naturally aspirated V8 to listen to.
Oh yes, it's absolutely phenomenal. I think we all know how much I absolutely adore this car and that noise. I mean, could you ever get bored of that? I just don't think you could.
It's just so antisocial, but in a very enjoyable, childish way.
Do you know what? It's antisocial, but again, let's knock it up a couple of gears and we just cruise.
Silence.
And that's what I love about this car. It really is the Jekyll and Hyde, to use the old cliche. It's an absolute ravaging animal when you want it to be. And then when you want it to be, it's just a C-Class. It's just a normal car. Okay, normal may be a slight exaggeration.
Yeah,
but
big wing on the back and some aggressive aero all round.
No, but it's not compromised over a normal C-Class. Yes, it's a little firmer, but the damping is absolutely phenomenal. You've still got a massive boot. It's still nice and quiet and comfortable. You can cruise.
This one has 4 seats.
It has 4 seats. It doesn't make you tired. There's no drone. It's absolutely lovely, and that's even with the secondary caps and the resonator removed. So anyway, as we said, we're on the way to Godleman's and we're going to see our paint samples for the first time. So
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. Now, I know what my preference is. I know what the audience preference is.
I know what my preference is.
Yes. But what's going to be the case once we get there and hold the samples up against the car? Are we going to change our minds? Are we going to think exactly the same?
And I guess we're going to have to bring them back to the Shmuseum as well later and have a look and see how they look under the Shmuseum light, because we're so used to seeing all the cars under that kind of lighting.
Yeah. I absolutely cannot wait to see what's in store for us, so we'll skip to you guys in a couple of seconds when we've got them in our hands. Well, just when you think you make the most noise, a bike comes along and tells you you're wrong.
Yes, I was going to say that was kind of loud, but we're here at Godleman's. So
we have made it, so I think we're going to head inside, find John and the boys, and let's go and see our paint samples. We've now pulled the C63 inside here at Godleman's, where we're taking a look at their body shop facilities. Obviously, we've MOT'd a few cars here before, but they are a Bentley approved paint shop as well. So they've done a couple of spray out cards for us, so we can see what this looks like. It is time. If we go round the back, let me not walk into anything.
We've actually got all of them laid out.
Here we have our spray out card. So we've had a brief look.
We had to.
And I'm not going to lie, my mind has possibly been changed by what we've got here.
I think I'm exactly the same. We were,
yes.
Me and you were quite set. I think me, you and Tim were quite set on a colour.
We were all very set on AMG Magma Beam. Now, the reason we were so set on this colour is because obviously the GT Black Series was launched in Magma Beam. The C63 Black Series was launched in Solar Beam. Now, obviously Tim has resprayed the GT Black Series in Solar Beam, so how cool would it have been to reverse that, do this in Magma Beam, and have a one-of-one C63 Black Series?
What do we think? I know we're not in natural light. The sun, unfortunately, isn't out today. It's as you saw on the way here, it's a bit greasy.
We'll have to see if we can get some more lights.
But what do we think? Magma Beam on the sea? It's still a very good choice, and it's definitely up there. However,
it is, and it's a lovely choice because obviously they do come in a red, and that's quite similar. But yes, as Brad was about to say,
you guys had one colour that was thrown in the comments over and over again, and that was AMG Green Hell Magno.
Now,
so the green from the GTR.
Yes, the green from the AMG GTR. Now, as many of you guys may know, Tim isn't the biggest fan of matte/satin cars and satin paint. So we've gone with you, but put a little twist on it. So we've actually gone for Green Hell Gloss.
Now, this may or may not be the one that's thrown me and Tom a little bit.
It is.
Because there is something about this colour, and I'm hoping you can pick it up as much as we can, but it's just really, really nice.
It is. I think it's safe to say I've never been the biggest fan of Green Hell Magno either. I don't mind a satin car, but that colour just never did it for me. But all of a sudden, seeing it without the satin, it looks quite stunning.
If I just place it there. There's something about it.
There is.
There really is something about it. I think we're both a little bit like,
There
this
is
an option. Obviously, Tim's going to have to see all three of these as well and let us know his opinion. I think we can leave these flipped over as soon as we've done these two. There's
this is very true.
First. And again, a bit of a comparison of you two.
And I'm not going to lie, before we arrived, I was dead set on AMG Magma Beam. I have been, ever since we first discussed that this car may need slightly more than just a couple of touch-ups in terms of paintwork, I've been dead set that we change it to this.
And now this has come along. So.
Now this has come along and really thrown a spanner in the works.
And then finally,
we have another spanner.
Another spanner. We have a bit of a bonus, which was...
We do.
We sort of sat down and said, let's get three colours to look at. This, and what else could we do?
Yeah.
It's got to be something bold and a bit different.
And as you guys know, Tim is a huge fan of very out there colours. I mean, the Hurricane STO is proof of that, right? So we've gone, what's the most out there Mercedes colour we could think of? So we have gone for AMG Electric Beam, which you may know from the G500 4x4 squared.
This is a trio and a half.
It's quite an out there, quite a bold colour. I don't know if it's for me, but do you know what? I'm not as offended by it as I thought I'd be.
Me neither. I think the issue we have with it, and we're probably looking at it going, the GT's already in solar beam, so
yes.
Do we need another yellow Mercedes?
It's a very greeny yellow. It is slightly different. Well, it's very different.
It's very different.
Is it a colour for the collection? Whereas at the moment, obviously the only green cars we currently have are the BMW M3, which will shortly be departing, and the GT500, which is currently in America, and will soon be over here. But once again, a very, very different green. If we're going to talk about the GT, it's probably nearer that than that.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Grab a Lime is definitely more yellowy and a bit brighter and more fluorescent, I guess, than this green, which is just quite a rich, very metallic green.
Yeah, so guys, we're torn. We're going to head back towards the Shmuseum with the paint sample so we can look at it under the light there. But for now, you guys vote down below in the comments, 1, 2, or 3. Which one would you pick? Now, let's jump in the car, get on the road. So you join us back out on the road, and I'm going to crack the window because guess what we have in front of us?
A tunnel! Oh, that's so good.
It's just, the noise never gets old. I know we've said it about 1,000 times in this video already, but how can you ever get bored of that? And the way the power's delivered as well is just linear, naturally aspirated power delivery.
There's the downshift as well.
It is the downshift.
It just sings. Oh. They just sing.
They do. Okay, tunnel's almost over. One more. Okay, one more.
There we go. Right, back to this museum. Back with the C and our three paint samples. Magma Beam, Green Hell Gloss and Electric Beam, and this hasn't made it any easier, has it?
No, if anything, it's more difficult. Because this is the light we know, this is where we see them so often.
Every day we're in here, we know how every car looks under the light. We know sort of how the reflections of the metallic and things, the flake are going to show up. And seeing these colours now under it has not helped one bit.
I think it's done one thing for me, if I'm being completely honest. Me personally, I think that's probably out the equation for me, and it's between those two.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so we're both on that page.
And I think Tim would most likely agree. We'll have to find out when we ask him and send him some photos and things, but...
Yeah. No, well, let's just wait for him to get back from Dubai. He can wait.
Yeah, true, we can do that.
He can wait, that's fine. No, we'll let him know. But it's between these two, and what we've done, if we just grab these samples, I've actually pulled the M3 out. I can't get this one off the bonnet. There we go. We've pulled the M3 out just so we can have a look at the difference in shades.
And it is PPF, do not worry.
Yes, and well, as you can see, it's night and day. And obviously the M3 will soon be leaving the collection, so with the absence of the GT500 as well, we are arguably in need of a green car here in this museum.
We are. And the cool thing is, obviously, Isle of Man and the Green Hell are very different, and as well, Grab a Lime on the GT500 is a very different green. So when that eventually does arrive here, it's not going to look anything like that.
As we said, the Grab a Lime is arguably more the electric beam side of things with that really bright neon kind of colour. Now, we're also holding the Magma Beam sample, and conveniently, we happen to have the Aston Martin GT8. Now, once again, it's a very different kind of orange, but you can see it's on the same kind of spectrum. It's non-metallic, it's a flat colour, and ultimately just a few shades darker.
And the other one, which we mentioned, I should probably come and grab it.
Yes.
If I get electric beam, yes, this is a very sort of yellowy lime green.
Yep. As much as we're not the biggest fan, it is still an option because Tim hasn't yet had his say, so it could well end up going electric beam.
We have an STO with a very, very bright purple and obviously our yellow accents. And the difference, again, isn't that different. There's a few changes. It's almost a little bit lighter. But just a bit of a comparison to some of our sort of more normal colours that we have here in the collection. And the cool thing that John told us, especially with the Magma Beam, not the Magma Beam, with Green Hell, is that if we wanted to add more fleck and make it really pop like the STO does in the sun, we could. We have options to make it as sparkly as we like.
This is the beauty of potentially going this route, is that we don't necessarily have to go with an off-the-shelf colour, as we're kind of, we are looking at free off-the-shelf Mercedes colours, but obviously we can tweak them a little bit, and obviously that is what we've done with the Green Hell, because I know you guys, so many of you guys suggested Green Hell Magno, but I mean, as you can see from looking around the collection, Tim really isn't a fan of satin cars. I mean, to my knowledge, the only one I can think of is the Supra A90 edition.
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that was only because that's how it was available. It wasn't available, I believe, in a metallic or gloss finish. So that's why we've gone with this twist on the Green Hell.
Let's try and pick these three up. I might need your help, Tom. I don't think, I'm gonna need your help. You can grab them for me.
Okay, so if we just get those together, we'll fan them out and give those to you.
Thank you. I'm dropping them. Sorry, guys. One
That's
second.
not going well.
Okay,
have you got
cool.
it?
Yeah, I've got them. So there are our three colour choices. Number 1 being Magma Beam, number 2 being Green Hell Gloss, and number 3 being Electric Beam. And there's our C63 in the current Diamond White. We're going to try and put a comment poll. I think that's a thing. If it's not, then let us know what colour you think, but I'm going to try and do my best to find a poll where you guys can go and click an option of which you prefer, 1, 2 or 3. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what we all go for. Now
that we've got the colours in hand, I can't wait to see if you guys still think the Green Hell. Are you going to switch to the Magma Beam? Maybe the Electric Beam all of a sudden is going to be your favourite choice. We can't wait to find out. It's been absolutely huge fun getting down to Godleman's and checking this out, as well as obviously getting all of the Shmuseum in tip-top shape and showing you guys how we take care of those. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and until next time.